Well, hello everybody. Sorry for the hiccup in the start, but I crashed as soon as I pressed the live button. Truth be told, I was just going and making some coffee. And no, I don't drink my coffee with milk in it. It's actually a quadruple shot uh, cappuccino. So anyway, everybody, I'm here. New specs. I can actually read what I'm doing now, see what I'm doing. Uh, Not cheap here in Russia if you want decent frames. They're all custom made. Took me about 3 weeks to get them. Um, so yeah, I have my uh, producers in the background, Timothy and Jay, and I am going to tell you, go out to Timothy's YouTube channel. He will have videos from his Malta trip as soon as he makes it, which will be soon. And so, good stuff out there if you like diving and seeing the fishies under the water. Um, it's a good place to go. So, hello everybody. Edawolf, Alex, Linda. Yeah, thanks, Edawolf. Because I wanted a particular frame out of the West, uh, I had a choice of two. These are some pink ones. So these are kind of a, can't tell in this light, but they're kind of a purplish brown color. And Edawolf, doesn't matter which one you comment on, I still see them anyway. So, yeah, Alex, these are progressives. They cost me about $800 here. Silhouette frames because I can twist them and bend them, sit on them. Custom made progressives. It's about the same thing I paid in the US. I think I paid $700 back a few years ago. So yeah, Jay, like I say, about $800, 80,000 rubles. So yeah, it's not cheap, but like I say, Western frames, they cost me 750. I don't know, 5 years ago when I bought my last ones over in the US. So no astigmatism. I used to be able to see well, far, and not close. Then I lost my far sight, had cataract surgery, restored the far sight. So the top of the progressives is zero prescription, and then they get progressively stronger going to the bottom. So, the progressives cost a good amount. These are custom lenses. They have, I used to buy orange lenses all the time. That's what I could get in the US because I'm in front of the computer screen all the time. And Russia has a new technology that they use instead that's in these lenses. So that's that. So, questions. I have a hard stop at 10 p.m. my time. So, in about 45 minutes, my producers also have a hard stop. And so, we're going to get into it. I'll deal with any questions you have if my producers see them and star them before we get to the end of the show. If not, ping me in Telegram and we can answer them for you. So, what we're going to do, our favorite subject for this stream recently, and it's only because I have to address some issues for people. So, that's all I'm going to play because I don't want to get copyright strike and have the video removed. So yeah, we're going to talk about money, 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 money. As usual, George's. Hello, good to see you. If I can get my file up here. Come on, feel. So money. I just have some things you people need to know. Number one, don't be impatient with me. Money takes time to move from the West here. And I can't tell you, this week alone, I've had a couple of people send me money late Moscow time because, I work from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. So I'm usually up. People demand my time and attention. And because I'm not having, normal conversations with them, chatting back and forth, they get annoyed. I'm working, so I don't deal with things then. Um, and if you send me money at, late in the day in the US, 11, 12 o'clock at night, Moscow time, I'm not going to deal with the money by morning. I had somebody send me money. I was talking to him at 2:30 in the morning the other day, and I got his money shortly after that. I was in bed already. And first thing in the morning, he's pinging me, asking me where his money is. And reality is, it doesn't get processed that much. 72 hours. I'm not even going to give a time frame anymore. For amounts under, about $4,000, 72 hours. If you get it before that, you're doing well. Often I get you money within 12 to 24 hours, but don't expect it. And that does not include weekends or holidays. I had somebody send me money last night, late at night Moscow time. And this morning he's pinging me, he said, how'd the transfer go? Dude, it's Saturday. The banks aren't open even in the West. So it isn't going to leave the West until Monday morning in the West. So Monday evening, our time, it's not going to show up until Tuesday or Wednesday. So this is what you guys need to know. Be patient. It fits into the theme of our stream tonight. Have patience and do not expect things are going to happen right away. That's just not Russia. Punctuality is not a big thing here. Patience is respected, and you have to have patience to live in Russia because punctuality is not a big thing here. If you make an appointment with somebody, a lot of times, you get a delivery and they'll tell you, we'll be there sometime between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. You ask them to get a little more specific and they'll say, yeah, today. You might make an appointment with a plumber for next Tuesday morning, and he may show up Wednesday or Thursday, if you're lucky. So get used to it. If you're going to be pushy and demanding, don't bother moving to Russia because you won't survive here. Yeah, Edelwolf, like your next president. Be there when I get there. So the next thing that I have to address is don't nickel and dime me. I have a couple of guys that I have done smaller transfers for, 500, because that was my minimum. It is now $1,000 because the guys who send more money don't tend to annoy me over little things like this. Guys who are spending $500 sending that, if you treat me right and you're respectful with me, I will be respectful with you. I'll explain the fees to you. But if you're going to browbeat me all the time about, Well, it cost me $35 to wire the money to you because you weren't bright enough to open up a Wise account by yourself. I'm not going to handhold you guys to open Wise accounts. Opening an account with Wise, tying your bank account to it will save you on wire transfer fees. But if you can't go to their website and follow the directions to create an account and tie it to your bank account, put your money into it, you're stuck with Swift. You having to pay a fee to wire money to me isn't my problem. So I'm not going to handhold people to open Wise accounts anymore. I had one of those this week. The guy spent 2 days trying to get money to somebody, a law firm that I help out a lot here by, they want crypto. And, so the guy wanted to send me money, $300. I make nothing on that. It's $9 and then I have to pay taxes on it. So I make about $4 on that. And, he came to me and he says, well, I'm sending this. I don't know how to get into Wise. It cost me $35 to wire you the money. And gee, why did Wise charge $6.11 for an incoming transfer? I sent you $3.40 and you only got $3.33 and change. You know what? Because many banks, including Wise, they charge incoming wire fees. Wire money to Armenia, they charge you $12. Just the way it is. So my fee for helping people is 3%. It's not a lot. The banks charge me right now between 4 to 4.5% to do money transfers. That's their fee for accepting the wire and passing it on to the next place that it stops. Now, you have currency exchange rates. Your money doesn't leave your account and show up to me as US dollars in Russia. Your money changes currencies a minimum of 3 times, and banks earn money on currency conversions. How much? Depends on the day of the week, the time of the day. Conversions are not predictable. It's a volatile market. A couple of weeks ago, I was getting great exchange rates from people sending me Great British pounds. They were getting more per pound in rubles than they could get walking into the bank. US dollars, usually fairly even. Your fee is coming out pretty much on par with, that 7 to 7.5% total fee. This week, nope, because the dollars changed to Canadian, to Great British pounds, to euros, to rubles. And by the time it changes 3 times at 3 different banks, you lose money. So I can't predict that. If you're going to whine about it, find another way to send your money. You can carry it here in cash. You can use a company like Profi. In the countries where Profi still works, they charge more than I charge, but they'll get it to you right away. If you need it done immediately, send me crypto. I can get crypto done in a couple of hours if I'm awake. So, and that's a 3% flat fee. Again, it costs me time to deal with it. Tomorrow, I'm meeting a guy who sent me money by crypto, and I'm delivering cash to him in Yalta. So, not going to tell you where in Yalta. So things like that cost me time. So if you're going to complain about the ultimate amount you receive, I will charge you extra when you finally come back to me, because they always do. Or I'll just refuse to transfer money for you. So that said, My minimum is now 1,000 US dollars, 1,000 euros, 1,000 Great British pound, 1,000 whatever you're sending. If you need to send $500, I will do that as long as you can deal with the fact of what I've repeated here over and over and over. The fees can be variable. So if I do send a small amount for you and you complain, I will just refuse to do it next time. I do a lot of $500 transfers for people, and they're grateful for what they get because they don't have to fly back to the United States, pay $1,500, $2,000 for a plane ticket to pick $500 up. Do not send me money without talking to me first. I had money show up in my account the other day. No idea who it came from. So all I can say is thank you for the Christmas present until they complain, or I get tired of watching the money in my account. It, can't help you. And make sure that if you're wiring money to Wise or you're using a Wise account to send me money, make sure you tell me whose name is the originating account. I had somebody who had somebody else in the United States use Wise to send me money. And another one of these guys, very next morning, why hasn't my transfer come through? So, well, what was the name of the person who sent you the transfer? I get lots of transfers in a day. And if your name doesn't match where the money came from, I can't tie them together. And it cost me time for him to figure out who the heck sent him the money. He said, oh, the guy by this name sent it to me. Well, I have no transfers from that guy. So he's like, well, what should I do? He said, go back and ask them who sent the money. Well, he said he sent it. Yeah, but in whose name? And it took a couple of hours to figure out what the name was of the person on the Wise account that sent me the money. So that cost me time. I got quite a large sum of money from somebody a couple of days ago. And again, it was a different name than the person I had been talking to. And I've dealt with this person before and the money came in his name. This time it came in somebody else's name. I spent a couple of hours popping around Telegram, contacting people, trying to find out whose money it was. And eventually I figured it out, but it costs me time to do that. So I have no way to determine if this is your money if I don't know who it came from. Make sure you tell me that. For such idiocy, I will charge extra going forward. I haven't determined how much, but I'm thinking about 5%. Why? Because make sure the account information you give me that the money is going into is correct. I had somebody send me money he wanted me to pay to somebody else's account, and he gave me their card number, their telephone number, and their name, just like he was supposed to. Well, what I found out is the card number didn't show up as a valid card. The telephone number wasn't in the faster payment system. So that happened to be a transfer using cryptocurrency. I had already sent it to the exchange. They couldn't find the person to send it to. So they had to return the crypto to me. And guess what? They charged me 5% for having to refund money. So, we're going to start adding an idiot charge for things like that. Do not ask me to move $100 for you. I can't repeat this enough. I would earn $300 on that. I had somebody today ask me to accept $100. No, won't do it. Not worth my time. So Eddie and I did a stream on this a couple of weeks ago, and this fits in with the topic of tonight about patience, but also lose the typically American attitude. I find Europeans to be not like this as much. Americans are the worst. But here is a conversation. Let me get rid of, oh, I can't get rid of that banner. So, can't get rid of it. Anyway, there we go. Don't know what I did. Don't know how I got rid of it. Oh, never mind. That's what I have producers for. There is a situation in chat. I've hidden their name to prevent embarrassment, a couple. And they were asking questions about buying property. They wanted to buy property and build a house. So, well, you can only, somebody told them they could buy land anywhere in Russia, which is not true. You can't buy it in border regions. The correct statement from one of the other moderators, good friend of mine, right up there on the screen, he had told them that, well, you can in border regions. There are actually 2 areas in Crimea that foreigners can buy land. Krasnodar, you can't buy it in Sochi. You can't buy it in Anapa. Krasnodar, you can in a couple of regions of Krasnodar. There's a list. We can provide you the list if you go out to the Russian Experience Forum in the properties chat. But they were complaining because we'd been having a discussion, the 3 of us, about buying land versus buying apartments. Somebody told them, oh, you can buy a house. You just can't buy raw land. That's not true because the house is attached to the land. You can't own the land. If you can find somebody who will sell you the house without the land, and it is possible. Hey, Linda, it is possible to do that. Hey, Daniel, then you could buy a house without the land. We used to have a building that our apartment was in. There were 3 apartments in the building. We and the other 2 owners owned the building, but we didn't own the land it was on. Well, it's a little different because it's an apartment. However, what you'll run into in that situation is tax problems, because if the person owning the land decides that they don't want to pay tax for your building anymore, they're in their right to say, move your building off my land. So, that's a not true thing too. So the complaint here was, well, lots of can and can't do's. It doesn't make it feel very welcoming. And as they were told, I would touch on this in my live stream, but Russia is not a country of smiles. So get accustomed to the fact that you will not be treated like you are in your blessed homeland. This is not America. Things are not going to happen on your schedule, and things will get done, but you have to have patience. And if not, buy a lot of valerian root to take while you're here. People are not going to smile at you. They're not going to open up their arms and throw a hug around you saying, welcome to our country. Get over the fact that if you're afraid of certain viruses, that you don't want to shake somebody's hand if you're a man. Here, men shake another man's hand in 100% of the cases. There's none of this wimpy fist bump, elbow bump stuff here. You will grab their hand, you will shake it, you will use a good firm handshake. So, um, you know, you make friends with somebody, you know, yeah, they may hug you, they may smile at you, but strangers not going to do it. Shake everybody's hand. Um, so get to know the customs here and leave the customs you expect from the West in the West because it isn't going to cut it here. I'm going to skip one topic here and touch on this because it's related. But Russia is already giving people an easy path to residency with this new decree. Don't expect handouts here. Appreciate the fact that they're letting you come here, get temporary residency without taking exams, and don't expect that they're going to pay for your personal university education. I had somebody the other day say, well, I only, I have $100 a month coming in, you know, so, Russia will have to give me support to live there. Well, you know what? If you got $100 a month coming in, first, they aren't going to let you in the country. Second, even if they did, you're going to have to learn how to live on that $100 a month. This person also complained about the registration laws. Well, if they asked, well, why do you have to be registered? I said, it ensures everybody has a place to live. You aren't homeless. And they complain. It's like, well, so you're forcing people to have a home. Yeah, absolutely. They're forcing you to have a home. And if you don't want to have a home and you want to live in a box on the street, I can recommend a wonderful place for you. It's called Minneapolis, Minnesota. Go live out there in the Siberia of America in a box, but you aren't going to do it here. Russians aren't going to, Eddie and I got pinged on this last week for this comment, but I'm going to make it again. Certain people have come here and they have not been willing to help themselves. A lot of people point at like Arend from Countryside Acres. They came here, they got screwed out of some money, but they have done what they need to do to survive here and stay here. And because they're willing to help themselves, Russians help them. So the old saying that God helps those who help themselves, well, Russians help those who are willing to help themselves as well. Most importantly, use your head. God gave you a brain for a reason. And that brings me to the next one. This one right here. This is a picture of Russian stormtroopers just before battle. They had confession, communion, and a very short time later at 4 a.m., they went into battle. And I will tell you this right now. What I'm going to show you next, don't do it because it's a good way to get beaten. So, yep, Ed Wolf, it's an Orthodox service. Absolutely. And here is the comments somebody made. Wonder how many of them read the gospel. And, Russian guy says, all of them. Or is your point about one of the 10 commandments specifically? And the guy comes back, he says, well, how can you claim that? He says, many people in Russia believe that they're Orthodox just because they light a candle in a church. So he was being offensive, and he got called on that too. And I like this final comment he made is, the part about the 10 commandments refers to the fact that you have nothing better to do than question these people's faith. So I'm one step away from expecting you to bring up thou shalt not kill as an argument. And of course, I turn this conversation off. And my comment in the end there says it all. Negative comments about the Russian troops will not be tolerated in my chat, the chat that this one came out of, or any of the other chats of the Americans, British, whatever, that are living in this country. Do not badmouth our troops. I prefer you also don't badmouth the Ukrainian troops. But I will not deal with people badmouthing Russian troops. So that is the end of my bitch list for tonight. So I will ask one of my producers to maybe throw some. Yeah, I'll throw this up while they look for some questions to throw up. Countryside Acres refuses to integrate. That's not true. They actually are integrating, maybe a little slower than some people would prefer. But integrating is not a simple thing. There's a lot of cultural differences between Russia and Canada, where they came from. They have a big family, and but I agree with your comment. Don't expect to move here and be an island in a foreign country. You are not going to recreate your home country in this country. You can practice your own faith. You can follow your own customs, but you have to respect the culture here. So, we got any questions? You saw something today on Telegram saying Wise wasn't cooperating now. Going rogue, I'm going to guess this is a comment from the guy who had trouble setting up and transferring to Wise. I do know that he could not wire from his bank. The particular bank he uses actually happens to be a bank that I hold my other business account in, and they would not wire money to Wise. However, it's humorous to me because my business account in both places is the same name, so they wouldn't wire money to one of their own customers. And that's not a Wise thing. That is a bank thing. So Chase Bank is the worst. Chase Bank is the correspondent bank and the intermediary bank both for Wise, and they won't send money to Wise. Some people have, but very rarely. Wise is pretty cooperative. This is another thing people complain to me about. I recommend using Wise because it saves people wire fees. I pay about $7 to get my pension check into my Wise account from my bank account. And, to wire it, it's a $25 fee. So it saves people money. What people complain about is, gee, I signed up, I created an account. I wanted to transfer money in, but they want me to send my ID and my address, proof of address, and they want to verify it, and then they want to hold my money for a few days. This is where people are claiming Wise doesn't cooperate. However, it is a law that also exists in Russia. It's known as KYC, Know Your Customer. So they're doing their due diligence. So this is just a BS Western bitch is what it is. So don't fall for that stuff. And, if you have questions like that, you can always ping me in Telegram. Yeah, do not. Michael and I both learned on this one. he made a joke in a transfer to me about, he was sending me a donation, and we appreciate donations, guys, because we're no longer monetized because we're pro-Russian. He made a joke about, here's for when I get there and we get to Russia and have a beer together. They actually blocked his transfer because he mentioned Russia. So never, never, never put a reason for the transfer on it. So that's all I can say about that. For those outside the US, is it worth opening an account in Wise? Yes, it is. I have a good friend from the United Kingdom. He's an Irishman, and all of his money goes into his Wise account in Great Britain. And he sends money from there to me, and I transfer it over for him. That's how I know how good of a rate the Great British Pound has been giving. So if you're in a country where Wise will allow you to open an account, you should have one. Well, I'm thinking about money. I actually meant to address this because since Jay's asking this question from behind the scenes, Jay is actually one of my two producers. Timothy is the other one. Jay sent me some other information you should know about money. So there's been a lot of reports lately about Profi. If Profi works in the country that you live in still, I know it works in the United Kingdom. I know it doesn't work in most other countries anymore. They are no longer doing card-to-card transfers. Now, they aren't an overnight transfer either. And they actually do charge one hefty fee for transferring money. But you need to know that there's only certain account numbers that they will transfer money to, and only account numbers at unsanctioned banks. Now, Jay has sent me money to my Ozone account in the past. Can't anymore because my number doesn't fall into this special list of numbers. If you need the list of account numbers because you're going to use Profi for something, ping me and I'll give you the beginning numbers of the account numbers. The other thing she wanted to have me tell you is current mortgage rate in Russia without special programs is 25% interest. I have not independently verified that. I know it is something like that. And gee, I didn't shave very well, did I? Anyway, but unless you're a permanent resident or a citizen, you're not going to get a mortgage here anyway. So know that. And know that I have conflicting information on this. Have to find the amount. Foreigners depositing. The information I have is more than 1 million rubles. A foreigner has to show passport, migration card, registration, and source of income. The information that Jay and I are getting in the Put Demoy channel, which if you're a Russian compatriot, ping me and I'll give you a link to their chat. That's where you need to be. They've got people who recently went and they were told 3 million rubles. So $30,000. So could be 10, could be 30, 1 million or 3 million. Either way, you could need the source of income anyway. That said, I have recently done some much, much larger transfers to foreigners that have accounts at Sberbank, And because it's done on a money transfer contract with me, they were not questioned at all about the source of their income. So I can get money into your account, but always be prepared to show that source of income. Now, this is an interesting thing, and I've said this before as well. Jay, look today, the deposit rate in at least 6 banks are 19 to 22% for a 12-month deposit with 12 million rubles. And she made a couple more comments. I can verify that you can get a 3-month deposit at Sberbank for 21% right now. They hold that rate for 6 to 8 months, and then they sometimes go down. But Jay was pointing out, if you put 12 million rubles, 120,000 US dollars, euros, or Great British pound in the bank here at 20% APR, annual percentage rate, that will give you 200,000 rubles a month of income. And that's better than salaries in many places. I can tell you for a fact, I've got 20 million rubles in one of my bank accounts, and I'm earning 270,000 rubles a month on those deposits. Because Jay is talking about you can withdraw the interest to your card and spend it and live on it. A lot of people do that. I leave the interest in, so I'm compounding interest on the interest, and they compound daily. But what you have to be careful of when you go to the banks is some of these 12-month deals, you'll find out that they can adjust the interest rate at any time. Mine is that way. Mine is adjusted up every month from when I initially put it in the bank. So, it's, if you have the money, it's a good way to make an income to live off of rather than having to spend the money. Okay. Yeah, okay. Account to count is several hours. Well, and I'm 2-3 days, up to 2 or 3 days. So, yeah, people get surprised that foreign money transfers cost money and transfers into Russia cost more and crypto costs more. I cannot tell you how many people have pinged me and I've said, you sent me this much money. At the time, it was 6% off. I have one guy in mind. Gave you this much money that was converted at this interest or at this exchange rate. So you got this many rubles. And he came back, he said, yeah, but I had to pay the wire transfer fee to wire it to you. And, so ultimately I got, like 10 rubles, $1 less. It costs money to send money. It's a sanctioned country. I pray that I get out of the money transfer business soon. I hope that the special military operation will be ended soon, sanctions get lifted, and everybody can happily transfer their money to Russia on their own. But until then, yes, it costs money to send your money here. It costs a lot of money to send your money here. It takes time. Christopher is absolutely right. Christopher is a good friend. So he is well aware of this, know this. Yep. Going Rogue went through the WISE verification thing. It went through. Correct me, Going Rogue. I mean, it only took a couple of hours to authorize you, correct? So, it's just the way it is. Okay, Timothy. Yeah, there you go. You may have to take a photo of yourself and upload your ID. And your first transfer, they may hold 4 hours, 5 hours, 12 hours, 3 days, standard stuff. And then after that, it goes smooth. So not an issue. Could Wise be used to collect Social Security and transfer it to Russia? Absolutely. My Social Security check is direct deposited into Wise, and then I transfer it from there to here. So, absolutely. Whether you're in Canada, the United States, Great Britain, it's a good place to have your money be direct deposited to. And then you're transferring to a US business. So you don't get into this. Oh, you can't send you lose your pension if you go to Russia stuff. Discounts on progression of amounts of funds transfer. Absolutely. I have adjusted these back about a month or so ago. I will give you a 0.5% off for amounts over $300,000 or equivalent. And people say, oh, well, gee, you're still making a bunch of money. I'm paying 40% tax on that after I pay a bunch of fees that I don't pass on to you. And that 0.5% is coming out of my pocket. So I'm doing it for 2.5% at that point. If you want a better deal than that, look elsewhere. That's just the way it is with me. Because of all the idiots I deal with on a regular basis and all the people who have pissed and moaned and bitched, you get cold to such things. I'm Russian and I fit in well here. I take the attitude, you don't like it? Oh, well. This is something I was talking about Jay with. Jay is taking now. Westerners, unfriendly nations, don't understand how easy you have it coming to Russia right now. Jay is actually a compatriot. She has to go take the cotton picking exams. And of course, she worries about things. I used to be that way till I lived here. They'll take it out of her eventually. So, but yeah, so that's my discounts. Go to my website. That's the best way to find out what current discounts are. West of Freedom down there. And, that's the best way to find out if I'm offering discounts or not. So all these Sochi houses with land on English language sites are probably not legit. Well, let me tell you about sites like Sion.ru and the guys I use all the time, Avito.ru. Many of the houses you see advertised are not legit. Many of them are in Western countries and they put nice pictures up and you go out and you look at them and they're not really the property they claim they are. My own house has shown up on Avito for sale and for rent several times. And we've had people show up wanting to look at it. And it's like, we aren't selling our house. We didn't post that. So you do have to be careful of that. Now, Sochi houses with land, a lot of them are perfectly legitimate. But as a foreigner, you're not going to buy it unless it falls into one of the very small regions, a certain distance away from the city or a certain area. Like I say, there's actually a list published. Go out to the Russian Experience Forum in the properties chat, and we have the list posted there. So, does the bank deduct Russian taxes, or do you have to do that yourself? Christopher, because you're transferring money from the United States, it's actually not taxable income. What the banks do is there's a law that any interest you earn on the principal over 1 million rubles. So your first 1 million rubles is non-taxable at all. If you have 500,000 rubles and you're earning interest on it, the interest isn't taxable. At the 1 million mark, any interest you earn on the money above that is taxed on the interest only at 3%. And the banks directly take that out. So, yeah, you talk about, GM getting 20% interest, calculating, what is that, a half a percent or a percent? I haven't done the math on it, but you will pay 3% on the interest only that is earned above 1,000,000 rubles. And they take that out directly and you don't have to deal with it. Is there a transfer maximum? With me, absolutely not. You want to transfer 20 million US dollars, I'd be happy to facilitate it for you. It isn't going to happen in 72 hours, I can tell you that, because we have to follow, Patriot laws in several countries. So we can usually transfer about 50,000 Canadian, since Canada's in the middle of this, about 50,000 Canadian a day, sometimes 100,000, depending on how the clocks are between here and there. Large amounts, crypto is a good option and it saves you on fees. Again, 3% on crypto, and I can get that converted. We have to play games to get it to you here. Like I say, I'm meeting a guy tomorrow to give him a large chunk of money. But we can get it done. Oh, my fellow admin. He is my good friend. Yeah, so okay, Spur mortgage rates right now close to 30%. I will not argue with that. This man, I got the right finger this time. This man knows what he's talking about. If he posts a message to you in one of the forums, you can guarantee you're getting a good answer. Timothy, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Of course, Trump is going to fix everything on the day he's elected before he's even sworn into office. Wait a minute. Now it's the day after he's sworn into office. You want to hear some opinions on Trump and his cabinet and what they're doing and what will happen, what won't happen. Join Eddie and I tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on Eddie's channel, and we will be talking about this. Yeah, say there's my website. You can go there and you can make an appointment to talk to me. I do not do free consultations anymore. However, if you transfer a large amount of money, I may be, and you're reasonable, I may be apt to refund your $30. So, anyway. Yeah. Makes me think of hockey. Absolutely, Adolf. And I really, anybody who's coming to Russia, if you decide you want to bring me something, bring me some good old fashioned Tums, because you can't buy Tums here. And I go through them a lot. I've done that. I had a guy the other day who came to me and he was shopping around and he had a bank in Poland that would transfer money directly to Russia for him. And he had one in Kazakhstan that would, and he wanted to compare my prices and do a $100 transfer to check it out at first and everything. I fired him before I even started with him. Number one, I knew he was lying. Poland is not sending money to Russia. There is no bank in Poland that will do it. Kazakhstan no longer does it. So my guess is he had these bank accounts. And you used to be able to go to Poland and then use Krona Pay to get it to Russia. They don't do that anymore. You used to go to Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan would use the BIC system to send the money to Russia. They don't do that anymore. You have to go pick up cash. So also, yeah, I know this business well. Don't come to me and lie to me trying to get a discount, or push me down on fees, because I know what's available. Mr. Wonderful, hello. Yep. Timothy's being insistent on those fees. So any more comments left out there to answer? Questions? Search what with satellite imagery, Timothy? Okay. Any more questions? Mr. Wonderful, howdy. Got to get Jay her dinner tonight. If I don't finish on time, Timothy won't feed her. I think we got all the questions, didn't we, Jay? Yeah, seems like we got all of them. Oh, houses in Sochi, yeah. So, okay. 58 minutes and 49 seconds. We have 1 minute. If you have a burning question, now is the time to ask, because I'm going to shut things down in 55 seconds. We do not want a hangry producer. Yeah. Going rogue, you were not complaining. I was not referring to you. Trust me. You were the sweetest, nicest guy in the world compared to some of the complainers I get. Or I would have cut you off already. So don't worry about that. So everybody, yeah, Mr. Wonderful, you'll have to watch the recording. So we're 10 seconds away. I'm shutting things down. You got questions? Ping me on Telegram. Let's get my Telegram banner up there quickly. And the personal one, this one here, you can ping me there, and follow us on one of the other many ones we have. So that said, Paka, and got to get to the right closing thing. All right. See y'all later.
С чего начинается Родина? С окошек горящих вдали, со старой отцовской буденовки, что где-то в шкафу мы нашли. А может, она начинается со стука вагонных колес, из клятвы, которую в юности ты ей в своем сердце принес. С чего начинается Родина?